Hello, in this video we're going to have a look at some constructions. We're going to be looking at angle bisectors and at perpendicular bisectors. We are going to need a compass. If we haven't got a compass, we can make do with a pencil with a bit of string on it. It won't give us results that are as accurate as using our compass, but they shouldn't be too bad, and they will at least enable us to practice the techniques so that when we have got access to a compass, we can draw these constructions accurately. We're going to start off by having a look at equilateral triangles. So in the document that accompanies the video, on the first page you should have 3 steps to constructing an equilateral triangle. What I would like you to do is follow those 3 steps and see if you can draw yourself an accurate equilateral triangle. There are no word descriptions, so we've just got pictures in terms of what those 3 steps are. So see if you can follow them, see if they make sense. And once you've drawn your triangle, then I'd like you to make some notes in your books that make sense. So for example, you might say, put your compass on point A and draw an arc. So something that makes sense to you when you come back and look at it in 6 months' time, that you'll know how to construct an equilateral triangle. Okay, give it a go. Once you've done that, come back and restart the video. Okay, hopefully you've drawn yourself a beautiful equilateral triangle. I'm going to give it a go here. Let's see if I can do as well as you've done. I am going to use my pencil and string. So if you've used a compass, you should be more accurate than I've been. And let's see what happens. So first step, I'm going to put my piece of string on the point A. Got my mark on my string, so that needs to be on my point A. I'm going to try and keep my pencil as upright as possible, my string nice and tight, and my knots as near as possible at the bottom of my pencil. And I'm going to draw an arc. I'm going to draw an arc so it crosses my line segment. I also need another arc at the top of my page. Again, I'm going to keep my string as taut as possible with my pencil as vertical, as upright as I can get it, and I'm going to draw another arc. The arc needs to be halfway between A and this point, which I'm going to label up B. So halfway between there, because for my second step I'm going to put my piece of string on my point B and I'm going to draw another arc. Again, my string should be as tight as possible, pencil vertical, and I'm looking for those 2 arcs to cross. And I'm going to label the point where they cross, this point here, I'm going to label it C. I'm then going to take a pencil and ruler, and I'm going to connect up the 3 points. So I've got A, point B on my line segment, which is going to be the base of my equilateral triangle, and the point C where those 2 arcs crossed. So A to C is here, and B to C is here. With a compass, I'll be feeling really confident that I've got a beautiful equilateral triangle, that these 3 lengths are all the same. So if we've used our compass or we've used our piece of string, we shouldn't have changed the compass setting at each point. So the compass should have a fixed width so that when I draw my arcs, the length from A up to B is the same length as A to C. And when I moved my string or my compass to B and I drew my new arc, it was set at the same length. So this length, B to C, is also the same length. So I've got 3 lengths are all the same. Must have drawn an equilateral triangle. Okay, we're now going to have a go at an angle bisector. What do I mean by that? Well, I've got an angle on my piece of paper, so I've got these 2 line segments, and they're forming up this angle here. And what I want to do is I want to cut that angle into 2 equal size pieces. So all bisect means is to cut in half. It's important that we don't just cut it into 2 pieces, that we cut them into 2 equally sized pieces. Okay. We're still going to need our compass or our pencil and a bit of string. This time I'm going to use my compass. And I'm going to put the compass on point A. Doesn't matter how wide my compass is, pick it at a sensible distance. If it's too small, it's going to be difficult to be accurate. If it's too big, it's going to go off your page. So pick a sensible distance This one's going to work for me, and I'm going to draw an arc that cuts through the first line segment and also an arc that cuts through the second line segment as well. I'm trying to draw that so we can see it on the video. I'm going to label those up. I'm going to call the top one B and the bottom one C. It's really important that once we've done that, we don't change the compass setting between drawing those first pair of arcs. I'm going to draw two more arcs. Now at this stage you could actually change your compass. I'm going to leave mine the same, and I recommend that you do that. But if, for example, that means that your lines are going to fall off the end of the page, you could shorten your compass and change it to a different setting. But the next two lines, in the same way that the first two lines had to be the same, you can't change the compass between the next pair. So if I put my compass on C, I'm going to draw an arc. Needs to be in the middle. So I'm going to draw a line at some point between my two line segments. So draw an arc, have it in place. Then I'm going to move my compass onto my point B. So I haven't changed my compass setting. I'm going to put it on B, and I'm going to draw another arc until those two arcs cross. I am now going to label up that point D. And I'm going to connect up my point A and the point where those two arcs cross, D, with a straight line using my pencil and ruler. That line which we've drawn in now is my angle bisector. It has chopped this angle into two equal angles. So this angle here will be the same as this angle here. I've got a protractor handy. Once you've done it, it's worth checking it. Measure this angle, this one here, and compare it with this angle here, and you should get the same value. Certainly if you're using the compass and you've done the construction correctly, these two angles will be exactly the same. So we've taken our original angle, we've chopped it in half, we've constructed an angle bisector. Okay, what I'd like to do in a moment is pause the video and then have a go at the exercises that have been set. Once you've done those, restart the video and we'll have a look at perpendicular bisectors. Okay, we're going to have a look now at perpendicular bisectors. Really fancy title for something that's not too complicated. First of all, what do I mean by perpendicular? Well, that means at right angle to. So I'm going to be drawing a line that's going to be at right angles to my line segment AB. A bisector is exactly the same with angles, where we chop that one in half. I'm going to be doing the same, but this time to my line segment. So my line segment A to B, I want to chop that in half. So if I drew a line like this, this would be a bisector because it's chopping AB in half, but it wouldn't be perpendicular bisector because it's not at right angles to AB. Similarly, if I drew a line here, then I've drawn a perpendicular, if that's at right angles to AB, but it's not a bisector. This length here is way smaller than the line the other side of the pencil. So it's a perpendicular, but not a perpendicular bisector. So to get a perpendicular bisector, it's going to look something like this. So it's going to be, this distance needs to be the same as this distance, and the line itself needs to be at right angles to AB. Right, what do we need to do? First things first, we need to set our compass and put it on point A. So it doesn't matter how wide your compass is set, but you need to do it so that it fits on your page. So in this case, above the line. It also needs to fit below the line. And we're going to be drawing some arcs halfway between the points A and B. So set your compass so that it fits on your page, set it to a sensible distance. If you make it too small, if it's less than half the distance between A and B, then it's not going to work. So it needs to be a little bit more than halfway. It can be quite a bit more, but it can't be shorter than half the distance between A and B. So what we're going to do, we're going to draw an arc above the line segment AB, and I'm also going to draw one below. I'm then going to move my compass to the point B, and without changing the compass settings, so it's really important, don't open or close your compass up. I'm then going to draw 2 more arcs. So I'm going to draw an arc above, and I'm going to draw an arc below. And these should cross the 2 arcs that I drew from the point A. I'm going to label those up. I'm going to call this one C. Shift this up a little bit. I'm going to call this one D. And then I'm going to connect them up using my ruler and pencil. So we've got our point D and point C, and connecting those up. That line is going to be my perpendicular bisector. So it's going to be at right angles to my line segment AB, and if I call that E in the middle, AE is going to be the same length as E to B. So I've chopped AB in half, point E, and the line that I've drawn there is a perpendicular. When you're doing your constructions, it's really important that you leave these construction lines on your paper. So when the examiner marks your work, they're going to be looking for these lines. So don't rub them out once you've done them, leave them on the paper. When you've got that beautiful arc, it's made it really clear that you've used a compass and you haven't cheated by using a set square to try and draw this perpendicular line in place. So leave these construction lines. It's really important. You won't get your marks in an exam if you haven't got your construction lines in place. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and then have a go at the exercises that have been set.